Hey, it's Johnny Jet, and this is my 39 travel questions. And today we have Sam Chui, who is one of the biggest aviation buffs, geeks, YouTube stars, whatever you want to call him. But this guy's traveled. Sam, actually, how many miles have you traveled?
I've done about 3.8 million miles.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
it's a
and how
lot
many
more than
how many countries you've been to?
I've been to about just nearly about 100 countries.
Wow. And
But think about it, I am not much of a travel geek. I'm not much of a travel influencer. I'm just an av geek. I'm into aviation. So
right.
all my travel is fueled with reasons of aviation travel enabled. It's not because I just want to, go to 190, 200 countries and then map everything out. I actually have a reason because I want to fly some planes in some particular country. That's why I travel.
And any idea how many planes or airlines you've flown?
I've flown about nearly 250 airlines all
Oh
over the years because
God.
airline come goes and bust and then come back, and so there are lots of interesting developments with the aviation every time.
And how many continents you've been to?
I've been to every continent except Antarctica.
Me too.
Probably like you. Yes.
And do you have any desire to go to Antarctica?
At some point, yes, of course, you want to nail the last final piece, right?
For sure. And do you want to fly there or do you want to take the boat across?
Oh, definitely flying. There's no question about it. After you taking a boat, that's not right.
I'm with you. So where did you grow up?
So I was born in China and I grew up in different places all over the world. So I grew up in Hong Kong and Australia. Then I moved to Dubai. So I had a sample of the world from Asia to Australia to the Middle East. And I'm often also in US, in LA, where my parents lived in the States, you know.
Oh, wow. So where do you live now?
I am in Las Vegas in my parents' house, and I'm kind of commuting 3 days a week in California, in LA, to learn my PPL to do my private pilot license. So I'm pretty close to your neck of woods, John.
That's awesome. So what kind of plane are you flying?
Well, it is a light airplane, a two-seater South African-made airplane. It's called Sling. So lots of people think you will learn the Cessna as the first airplane to learn, but it turned out my very first airplane to learn PPL is a very new airplane, very powerful airplane called Sling, a low-wing airplane. Looks like a Cirrus SR-22, but it's maybe a little bit lower cost version of that.
And is it quiet?
It is quiet. It has iPad like touch screen, kind of all the avionics in the front deck and leather seats. It's very luxury actually. It's way better than your normal average 1980 Cessna.
Wow. And how long does that flight take, by the way? Normally 42 minutes on a 737, but how about this?
Oh, you got me wrong because I'm actually driving from Vegas from my mother's house to LA to learn flying, and I'm just doing loops and out of Torrance.
I got you. I was like, man, this guy's okay.
Yeah, but however, this Sling airplane do take car gas instead of af gas, so that makes a lot of difference because the car gas is so cheap right now; it's less than nearly $2 a gallon. So that airplane can do fairly economically, even flying from Vegas. It'll take about an hour and 20 minutes, I will say.
Okay. That's
Mhm.
and that's from Vegas to LA or LA to Vegas.
Well, think about it. You have a private airplane at your disposal. You can fly from Henderson. You can fly from any airport and then straight into Torrance without going past LAX or Burbank. You can do it much quicker.
Awesome. So what's your earliest travel memory?
Well, yeah, it's really hard to remember the first 10 years because I started slowly. I became an app geek. Then I started to write things down and log about my flights. When I was very young in China, I've flown a kind of like a military kind of VIP airplane. It was a British-made Viscount, Vickers Viscount. So lots of people probably haven't heard about that model, a four-engine turboprop. And I've flown the L-1011 when I was very young with Dragonair. Then I probably did my most remarkable memory in my early days was the 747 with United. My very first 747 out of Hong Kong to Tokyo.
And by the way, what is your favorite aircraft?
It is the 747, definitely.
I had a feeling the same way. Although, have you been on the 747-800? I've only been on the 400 and 200.
Yeah, I've done all three carriers on the 74-8. So it's the Korean Air, Lufthansa, and Air China. So I've
And
flown all of them. And I even flown a 747-8 cargo on Qatar. So I was the only passenger on a cargo plane.
and which one do you prefer out of all of them? Dash 8
I
or?
like the 400 because I grew up in the eras of the 1990s when the 400 ruled the sky for over probably 2 decades. Trans-Pacific, every airplane, every airline uses 747-400. So that's the time I grew up. So a lot of good memory for me to remember.
Yeah, she's the queen. Um, how about, do you have a favorite American city?
LA.
How about international?
International, well, it's really hard to just say giving you one, right? Because there's lots of great features in every town you go, and
Right.
you have some special memories. You had a great day, and everywhere you go, it can be your best time in every city, right?
How about by
Um,
continent? Do you got
by
cities?
continent, yeah, let's
Your
go by that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
your favorite
So which
cities in
one?
each continent?
Yeah, in Asia, I would still think Hong Kong, Singapore would come close. Although Japan is also very nice, but probably Hong Kong is probably where the place I grew up I can attach with.
Yep.
Australia, definitely Sydney. In the Middle East, it's definitely Dubai. And in Europe, that's a hard one because there's so many nice and historical places. I would probably still say London because London has a lot of buzz going on, lots of different nationality live there. It's just metropolitan. Yeah. And in South America, that's the only continent I, think about. I used to live in Australia, Hong Kong, or Dubai. It's very far outreach to Latin America. So, I would say Buenos Aires because it's beautiful and it's also very, very cheap right now to go there. So very nice cost to travel.
Yeah, we have the similar favorite
Oh, I
cities.
forgot about Africa. I don't know. I like to hear from you as well. I'm sure you told people about your favorites, and I missed out. And Africa, I was saying, Africa is an interesting one. I haven't traveled that much.
Cape Town.
Maybe Cape Town. Yeah, I have to say,
Me too.
yeah. If you look at a leisure, a lifestyle one, it has to be Cape Town.
Yeah, for South America, for me, it's Rio. For Asia, it's got to be either Hong Kong. It's got to be Hong Kong, or I do love Singapore. I love Bangkok,
Oh yeah, Bangkok as well. That's a great one. Yeah.
and in Europe, London, Paris, Rome. It's tough. It's a tough one, and in the U.S., North America, be New York City or Los Angeles, where I live, and I said South America, Australia, definitely Sydney. I love Sydney. I could live there. I could live in Sydney and Hong Kong.
Yeah, I can see you live in California. You have very high standard. You only live in the nicest cities.
Yes. So where do you think the friendliest people are in the world?
I will tell you it's in Iran. Iranians are very, very friendly. I'm not talking about the government. I'm only talking about the people you meet as a stranger, visiting the country as a tourist. You got to meet lots of really genuine, hospitable people. In fact, there are so much hospitable people in the world, a lot of country, everywhere you go. But in Iran, I was so impressed because they were so curious about you.
You know, you're not the first person to say that.
While you are absolutely, it's also very genuine. You felt like they genuinely were interested about you, your life, your impression about their country, about their lifestyle. It was hard to describe, but if only you have to try to go there and experience that, because it was really heartfelt hospitality there. I think Turkish also have some pretty good hospitality. And that part around the world is very old school, very traditional. And that's what it strikes me when I was young. I first went to Iran when I was 23 years old. That was the first Middle East country I've been. I have no idea what Iran was. I have no idea Iran was Persia. And I have no idea. And all I went was flying a last World 707 in Iran. That's all I tried.
Wow.
So government just Asian was in Iran.
Your
I'm not sure
internet
how the
froze
internet
for a
goes,
second.
whether you get cut off, because I can see sometimes it's either you or me. I think it's me that
Yeah, I
you're
think it's
speaking.
you, but it's okay. This is during the quarantine. Everyone's internet is just getting soaked up. So,
Yeah. Okay,
hopefully
let's keep
the Zoom
trying.
call will get the sound at least well. And by the way, how are you doing right now with the quarantine?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm really doing good. And I kept myself very busy following all the airline industry news and developments. And, I'm still making a lot of YouTube video, change my content from travel into news related video, hobby related video. I'm doing podcasts as well. So it's actually rather busy time at home. And, you have to fill yourself up to do things and not letting yourself having a lot of downtime and quiet moment to live up to full life.
Right. And by the way, where can people find you? What's your YouTube channel?
Yeah,
Sam
my
Chui.
YouTube channel is written on my T-shirt here. When people can see, it's actually Sam Chui. That's my name. My logo is here with the airplane bubble. So pretty much, if you know this logo, you can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. It's the same name.
So please subscribe to Sam's. He's got over 2 million subscribers. Also, please subscribe to this video, to my channel, and like it. And everyone likes Sam. I've traveled with Sam multiple times, and he's just a really good guy. And he's fun to watch on YouTube, and it's amazing the places that he's been.
Well, you're the only one like me, and I didn't pay you for saying that, right?
You did not, but I'll give you my bank account after this.
All right.
How about, where do you think are the meanest immigration officers in the world?
Oh, that's gonna offend somebody.
You don't have to, if you don't feel comfortable, you do not have to answer it. But I personally think it's Canada.
Yeah, Canada can be tough. Australia has some tough quarantine. New Zealand has quarantine stuff. Yep. US can be tough. If you throw them a passport, you have attitude, and then you get in trouble, or you go to secondary check. Generally, I try to play nice to immigration officer because you don't want to be held up there too long and throwing them attitude. So, and I also been questioned a long time in UK because UK used to have very stringent immigration procedure. They like to have a conversation with you. So it takes a long time to queue to do this. Because if everybody had 5-minute conversation, the queue takes forever. After you land after Air India or Pakistan International 747, you got 400 people in front of you lining up there. But now UK's changed completely to a electronic gates. Literally a self-clearing process. It's became the best in the world. No question asked. No, you don't meet anybody. You go straight out to the gate if you're qualified for the e-gates.
Right. I have not qualified for that. So whenever I go to the UK, I'm usually in a long queue, although I try and get the fast track, but sometimes that can be long.
Yeah.
How about, what is your favorite airport in the world?
My favorite airport depends if you're looking at plane spotting or using as a traveler traveling through the airport.
How about both?
My favorite plane spotting. Okay, you want both? Yes. So my favorite plane spotting airport is LAX. Because this is the airport I literally started my spotting maybe over 20 some years ago. I made some recent spotting video out of LAX just to let people feel good about the love of aviation. I would say my favorite airport to go through as a traveler would be Singapore, would be Changi, because of the garden feeling, the tropical lush garden vegetation, the landscaping. It made you feel so relaxed. Although it's a very busy airport, you never felt it was so much people around you.
Right. Actually, I'm with you on both of those. And by the way, you took that photo of the Korean Air A380 from a helicopter above In-N-Out Burger in LAX, correct?
Oh yes, I've done many trips like that.
That is the best aviation photo I've ever seen. And actually, that's how I learned about you. Our buddy John Decker is the one who told me about you. And I was like, man, this guy is the man.
I set a trend because those days I was the first to get on the helicopter, start to hovering over LAX and take photos. And later that became a stable trend. More and more people do so these days. But I started doing that in early 2000 when, even before the Korean A380, it was 747 doing all that.
Right. Yeah. Well, you're a smart man. How about, have you ever sat next to any famous celebrities?
I sat with sports celebrities. I haven't sat with any Hollywood celebrities yet. I haven't got that luck yet, but I sat with, South African cricketers. They're South African rugby players. I sat with YouTube stars before, I believe, and not anything, super famous like, A-lister or anything, but I sat with some sports teams and things like that. Yeah.
Gotcha. How about what's your favorite airport lounge?
Oh, it's the Air France La Première at Paris. It's the Air France first class lounge is just exquisite, divine meals is served there. It's just, absolutely high class waitress service, table service while you're waiting for your flight, and very little people inside. Very, very private.
You know what? I have not been in that one. I've been in the other lounges in Paris, but I have not had the privilege to be in that one. So that's on my bucket list
This
now.
one is literally just not like Air France, all the rest. This one is literally just so stand out. It beats Singapore first class. It beats Cathay Pacific. My second probably closest, nicest first class lounge will be Qantas in Australia, which I believe you've probably been there, that one,
Yes. I also love the Qantas one
Yeah.
in Heathrow in T3.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Qantas has really good lounges, and but the Air France one was just that one was just like a diamond, standing out.
Right. And speaking of Qantas, you were on one of the longest flights in the world, correct?
Indeed, I was on the London to Australia nonstop, 19 hours.
How was that?
Yeah, it was pretty, really rich and interesting. You see two sunrise. That's what they call Project Sunrise. You see a double sunrise after you take off straight away in the morning around 6 a.m. You see the first one. Then before you get into Australia over the, I think Indonesian airspace, you see another sunrise. It's a research flight, so it wasn't ordinary. So you adjust your body clock to get on the flight. So at 6 a.m. takeoff, you get served a supper instead of a breakfast because the Australia time was evening, and you do exercise. You chat with airline executives about the prospect, about the operation. So it was a very good proving flight. It was not ordinary flight, and I'm looking forward to by 2023 if they really launch it to do nonstop day by day. They can have such it's the final hurdle. Really, it's the final hurdle from Australia nonstop to Europe.
Right. So were you jet lagged on that flight?
No, I wasn't too bad. I followed the instruction from all the researchers and all the healthy people there, and I slept straight out. Then I wake up. It would be this morning when I arrive is noon. Then I am actually able to stay up all day and then sleep at night. So it was really good. So it was really easy to adopt if you follow the experts' advice.
Well, the most jet lagged I ever been was I did the inaugural Singapore to Newark or New York back in 2004. And it
Yeah.
was 18 and a half hours. And I've never been more jet lagged. Honestly, I was walking across the street in New York City, and it was when Spider-Man was out in the movie theaters. And I literally thought I saw Spider-Man walking across the street. And I did a double take, and the guy just had a red hat on. And that's how jet lagged I was.
Oh my gosh. I think flying to the US from Asia or Europe, especially Asia and Middle East, flying to the US is such a tough challenge because it's a day and night difference in the
Right.
time zone hours. So, when you arrive, really it takes about 3 or 4 days to adjust back to the pattern. Flying out of the US is not much of a problem, but it's flying into the US.
I'm with you. How about your favorite island?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Uh, what's your favorite island?
Oh, my favorite island. I've been to Tahiti, I've been to Fiji, I've been to Hawaii. I'm trying to think. Is there anything better? Saint Martin. I'd say Saint Martin is a pretty cool island. Again related to aviation, definitely.
Well, I would think, I personally, I think the most beautiful island is French Polynesia, Tahiti, Bora Bora. The friendliest, I think, are in Fiji, outer islands. And anyway, how about, do you have a favorite restaurant anywhere in the world?
Oh, let me think about it. I don't really, I love the food all over the world. There's so many different food. I don't think I will have one definite favorite. There's just so many. I love fast food as well. I go to many fast food chains as well, In
What's your
LA, I
favorite
go
food?
to a chain called Yoshinoya. I go to have the beef bowl, the Japanese beef bowl in Yoshinoya in SoCal. And lots of places in Brazil, I go for Brazilian barbecue all the time. So I don't have a fake one. I go to Hong Kong, I have barbecues there, a barbecue and pork.
And do you have a favorite type of food?
I probably, because I'm Chinese and I will probably stick by my nationality, I would say Chinese food.
Okay. And since you've lived around the world, what's your favorite fruit?
Not much of a fruit taker, but probably watermelon.
Okay. Mine is our Asian fruits like rambutans and mangosteens.
Wow, you have a very acquired taste.
So, what's the craziest thing you've eaten?
No, I am not a much of an adventurer in food. Unfortunately, I think you are far more adventurous than me. I don't eat anything like other than pork or beef, and I even rarely eat lamb. I'm not much of a seafood lover either. I'm a bit of a fuss eater, and I would say I'm much more of a bland kind of guy, eating the same thing over and over, and not really. I would say I'm a meat eater, but I'm not into eating grasshopper or cockroaches or eating anything outrageous.
I gotcha. And I do not like lamb either. Lamb just bums me out. Just even the smell of it, eating goat cheese too. Um, how about what's your favorite travel movie or growing up? Any travel movies that inspired you? Could be anything themed.
Oh, that's
Indiana
also a tough one.
Jones.
Yeah, maybe I would say like I enjoy what's that called the
James
one
Bond.
no I travel movies, right? Because I watched some airplane movies and um I forgot there was one it was really crazy one. It was really hilarious one. Those comedies, but I'm trying to think of the name.
Airplane, the movie Airplane.
Yeah, the airplane. Yeah, I enjoy the airplane. I enjoy Captain Otto. That's a good one too.
Okay.
I like to watch air crash investigation documentaries. I'm
Gee,
always carried. I don't know why they're sad, but then it's also very interesting. Found out the cause. I'm trying to think the other one. What is it called? It's actually like they did it one episode in here. They did one episode in Thailand, and it was so crazy about what was it called? Like it's like some
Border.
breakaway or
There's Border
the
Patrol too, which I like to
hangover.
watch.
Yeah, hangovers. It's called The Hangover 2, right? They filmed it in Thailand. They filmed it in
Yes.
Krabi, and I love that too. Yeah.
Yeah. How about TV shows? You watch any TV shows? Travel TV shows?
Um, National Geographic usually. So lots of National Geographic. Anything related to aviation, so like ice pilots. Like I mentioned, air crash investigation.
Right.
If there's a plane inside, and then it kind of turned me on, and I started watching it.
I'm with you. And we're down to like four more questions. How about what's your favorite travel app or apps?
I use pretty much all the standard app. I actually I haven't discovered lots of travel apps. I use all the standard the hotel apps and the airline apps, and I can tell you my favorite airline app is United, the airline app, because you can look up the seats map, you can even calculate the upgrade, you can see where you rank on the list. It was just probably the most powerful app I've seen out of all the airline apps. It's fast, and for hotel app, I use Marriott. I enjoy Marriott's app as well because it's pretty easy at your fingertip. All the hotels come out. It's very clear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, Johnny. Do you have any good travel app to recommend to me?
I mean, I have tons. We'd be here for a long time. That's going to have to be another video. But by the way, did I ask you what your favorite hotel is?
Ooh, you see that I'm an app geek. I'm not much of a hotel guy. I do recognize there are lots of great luxury hotel, but I'm not much of a hotel guy, and because typically I stayed at brands like Marriott, Sheraton, that kind of brand. I never stayed at really over the top, except my honeymoon. I was at La Meridian Bora Bora, which I have the water bungalow. That was nice, but
Yeah.
I never really gone out of my way. I never stayed at Burj Al Arab in Dubai, the seven-star, the sail ship looking hotel. I never stayed at that, and I used all my money to fly.
I got you. All right, we're down to three questions. What's the one item that you always seem to forget?
Um, lately, I haven't forgot much. Last couple of years, honestly, I haven't forgot much. I used to forgot, before I used to have lots of coins. I have a lot of coins from all over the world, and I like to take the coins with me when I travel. Let's say you go to China or you go to Japan, take the Japanese yen coins. You go to US, we used to take a lot of quarters and dimes, and these days everything's being replaced. Now you don't even need carry cash to travel. So, and then I guess like the thing I don't travel with is cash anymore.
Yeah, well, especially these days with the whole COVID-19, cash is going away. It's going to be all credit cards, contactless, Apple Pay
It's
is the way to do
unbelievable
it.
how COVID-19 shapes the world now and changes the world. Not only aviation, every sector there has something going, and we're just, I guess it's an advance, it's a fast track of things, getting rid of cash, getting rid of inefficient things.
Right. And are you into cruises, by the way? Have you ever been on a cruise?
I've been on a cruise only twice. As you can tell that I'm really a flyer, and
Yeah.
I don't have the patience, endurance to sit on the cruise for 7 days. I've been on a cruise with my mom when I was very young, a Carnival South Caribbean cruise, and and all I remember was eating a lot of buffet and the buffets on there. So unfortunately, I can't be your cruise advisor at all.
I got you. So what's your dream destination?
That's a good one. Um, there are still how lots of destinations I want to visit. Even some of them I visited before, I want to go again. The first one's probably Antarctica, and because I haven't been, that would be a challenge. That would be always a high on the list. New Zealand being so pretty out. And more African countries. African countries are quite difficult to travel. So when I get a chance, I like to visit a bit more like Rwanda. Just see different aspect of life out there. It can be challenging out there. I like to visit Nigeria at one point as well. Yemen as well. And then I've been to literally every single Middle Eastern country except Iraq and Yemen. So if Yemen one day return to peace, I would love to see Yemen because it's very kind of traditional, and it's also further down from the Arabian Peninsula. There's a real history down there, and they have a Socotra Island, as you probably know, is off the shore of Yemen, and it's just kept. It was like that for probably thousands of years.
I do
What
not
about
know the
you? I like to
island.
listen. I like to know about you. What will be your dream destination to travel?
You know what? I love doing round the world trips, and it would be with my family and, hopping around and taking my family to where my grandparents grew up in Ischia, Italy, or to Denmark and things like that. I actually have two more questions that I found that I forgot to ask you. What is your worst travel moment?
My worst travel moments. I had one time I was on a plane from Russia. I was on a Russian-made airplane called Illusion 86, which is looks like a very jumbo kind of plane. We had a bomb scare on board that we boarded this plane in Siberia at 2 a.m. It was really a bad hour. Everybody fell asleep. But then there were two persons boarded the plane, went to the bathroom, and then want to offload themselves. So that kind of triggered a lot of suspicions. And also, this was just happened after the school massacre they have in 2004 in Russia. So it was in a sensitive time. So then the passenger were nervous. So we all, just try to get off the plane and not to fly. So we went back to the terminal, and then the sniff dog came on, the
Bomb sniffing dogs.
secret agent came on, the surge every corner. Yeah, the whole police and then all the guards came on board to search the plane, and eventually it cleared us to take off at 5 a.m. out of Siberia. It was so loud. This plane took off out of Siberia, rocket out of Siberia, bound for Beijing, bound for China. And we were worried about it because you never know, there might be a bomb ticked off at the moment that you're done. And the whole plane shook so violently during the 4-hour flight because it went through a low pressure system. It flies through a low pressure system that it couldn't flew over the clouds, so it was completely shaking. So it was really hard to settle during that 4-hour flight. It was frightening.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Holy cow, that's scary. All right, my last question, Sam. I'm going to ask you what your best travel tip is, but before you say it, tell people where they can find you again.
Well, you can definitely find me on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on my blog, Sam Chui. I am on every single social media, so you got to find me somewhere.
And also subscribe to his newsletter, subscribe to his YouTube. Please subscribe to this one, like it. And now, Sam, what is your best travel tip?
Whoa, let me think about it for a minute because, hmm, yeah, I think the best travel tip it will be planning. It's still for planning. Knowing ahead of where are you going. For example, whether it's the airport terminal, how to get there, which terminal they use. Plan ahead. Think ahead of time. And if you do a last minute rush, you can actually waste a lot of time, additional time. So the research ahead is well worth the time spent because you end up with save time and more efficient. So that's my travel advisory.
Well, that's a great tip. And Sam, I can't thank you enough for taking the time and doing this interview. And I hope that I get to travel with you again soon. We'll
Absolutely.
see. And
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time as well. And hope you're staying safe with your family. And we all hope to travel soon again.
yeah, I hope so. All right, buddy. Take care.
Well, Johnny, I would say that I'm not quite sure because I know the bandwidth isn't very good. I don't